Hello everybody, this is Craig from the Natural Medic Adventures. Another episode for you. So on this week's episode, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about hammock camping.
It's very placid hammock. Yeah.
In particular, we're going to talk about budget gear. Is it worth it? Will it work for you? And so forth. If you're new here, welcome. We talk about hiking and backpacking, but not limited to that, to get you safely enjoying the outdoors. Like I said, on this week's episode, we're going to talk about budget hammock camping gear. One thing I forgot to mention that I thought about when I was doing the editing of this video was wherever you're going, be that a local park, a state park, Forest Service, national park, make sure the rules and regulations for wherever you're going, whether they accept hammock use. That can be obtained by checking the website or calling the site directly and saying, hey, do you allow hammocks? Because some places do not allow them. Also, if you're above tree line or in a desert area where there aren't many trees, hammocks really aren't going to be very practical. So think about that. And the purpose of this whole video is to show you need to set up your hammock before you take it out on a trip. Hope that helps. Back to the video. This particular hammock I got on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description below. There's a million of these, maybe not a million, but there's a bunch of these out there on Amazon that you can pick up that are probably all from the same factory. They are, of course, very inexpensively made. All of them, as far as I know, are made in China. Just disclaimer here, this is not meant to compete with any cottage manufacturer. The cottage manufacturers are great. However, for people getting started in hammocking, is you're going to have to drop a large amount of coin, money, whatever, to get started. There's some of their starter hammocks I've looked at. Even if you get a complete setup like this is, which you'll see here in a minute, you're going to be going $200 or more. This one, as of this particular recording, retails on Amazon for around $44. And actually I got it for $4 off, made it $40 even, and was shipped to my house in a couple of days. Now one of these days I might invest in a cottage manufacturer, but for right now, I'm going to try this for a few trips and see if it works out for me. Will it work out for you? Let's find out. Well, the whole thing is inside of this pouch, and I'll tell you what's in here. I already did a test run, so it doesn't quite fit like it did when I got it from Amazon. This is the tarp that goes over the top to keep you dry, and it does have guy lines on it. We'll get to that a little bit later. We do have some straps in here.
Thick straps?
Okay. Now, when you're thinking about straps, these particular straps, I'll show you a little closer. They are just nylon webbing straps, similar to maybe a seat belt or a climbing harness or something like that. So they're like a nylon type material. I don't know their rating offhand, that was not mentioned in the package, but they are plenty strong enough for this hammock, which is rated, I believe, I'll correct it, I believe it's rated around 350 pounds. So it should be good there. But anyway, when you're going to apply your tree straps, you want to be between two trees. I picked these trees. Pickens are slim.
Okay, we actually have you for the Slim Pickens suite.
I'm in my town here in one of my local parks. What would be ideal hammock tree? You want something that's about 6 inches in diameter or larger, so you won't have any problem swaying. Those are plenty big enough, and they're spaced apart wide enough. So ideally what you want to do, if you had trekking poles, I didn't bring mine today, but you would want to stretch those out. When they pretty much touch, that's pretty much ideal distance. So about 10 to 12 feet roughly apart. And the other way you could do it is do it by paces. So if you want to do, I'm 6'2", so I want to do about three paces.
3 paces forward!
So 1, 2.5. So it's not quite the most ideal distance, but this is about as good as we're going to get. Now, according to the literature that I got with this setup, they said to put them up about 5 feet above the ground. And I don't think that's quite tall enough. So I'm going to do it about head height. Like I said, I'm 6'2". Head height for me is going to be about right there. So I just take one loop and I put it through. Voila. I'm going to repeat that on the other side. About head height. One end of maybe some noise. I apologize for that. Alright, so we got a strap here and a strap here. Nice and snug on the tree. Now we're going to get our hammock out. This hammock is contained inside of its own carry bag. There's a few more things in there we'll get to a little bit later. And it does have a built-in bug net on either end of the hammock, or 2 nylon or 2 webbing type straps and a carabiner. We're not really going to use the carabiner to attach to the rope itself. I'm going to show you a handy knot that you can use to adjust. This knot will allow me to adjust my strap to the right distance so that I have the right level of hang. I'm going to run it through the carabiner. I'm going to make it like here. I can tension that up however I need to. I'm going to make a loop. I'm going to bring the end of that loop through there, and I'm going to cinch it down just like that. So that'll hold nice and strong. When I get ready to take it out, all I got to do is pull that. So we'll do the exact same thing on the other side. Alright. Now, to determine how much of an angle we have on that, all you need to do is take your finger like this, make the old pistol gun like we used when we were kids, and you put it on here.
And she gave me a wink and the finger gun.
And if it meets up, you're pretty much at the angle that you need. This one might be a little steep. We might need to decrease the angle on that one. Let's look over here at this one.
Somebody closer.
Okay, pistol gun, we're about the right angle right there. Perfect. Adjust this one just a little bit. I'll put the name of this knot in on the screen here during the editing process. The names just escaped me at the moment. Okay, so we're about right there. How do I know it's at the right height on this end? Is I'm just going to have a little seat. There we go. So I'm able to sit down. I'm 6'2". If you're a little bit different in height, you might want to make it a little bit lower for you. Or if you're taller than me, you might want to make it a little taller. That's the cool thing about hammocks, is you can adjust those to your own personal build or setup or whatever.
You know, make a couple adjustments.
All right, now this one has a built-in bug net, which is a nice feature. Here where I'm located in East Texas, and most of the places that I go, this time of year especially, it's late June, I'd say. Right now, there is a lot of bugs that can get you, and you don't want to have those chewing on you while you're trying to sleep. Now, to get up in the hammock, you just lean back. I'm pretty tall, but generally speaking, if you're going to lay in your hammock, you want to lay at a 45-degree angle. So you have your feet out like this and your head there, because otherwise you're going to be doing what they call a banana lay, where your body kind of looks like a banana curved, and that's not going to be comfortable. This one is just long enough. It might be just a hair too short for somebody as tall as me. Inside of this hammock, there is a couple of places you can hang stuff. You have a little mesh pocket. Put your phone in there. You have a hook right there that hooks something on, like a headlamp or what have you. You can also just take the net and take it back like that. Pretty cool. On the outside here, the pocket that the hammock actually stores in, you could use that to store whatever, a jacket, extra layers to put over you. Right now it's 90-something degrees.
Too hot.
Get out of the hammock, I'm just gonna sit up, and then I'm just gonna get up. What about if it rains? They did think about including a Rainfly. And with a Rainfly, now I'm not sure if this is the intention. Some of the instructions in there are translated probably from Chinese. I would imagine that the intent was there to give clear directions, but it didn't come out very clear.
The intent is noble.
So they have this little, it's like what they call a rubber rope, which I just call it like a bungee type rope. It's just a little thin rope with some little toggles on the end of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the loop that I made right here, tie this on, and then stretch it all the way across here to make a ridge line. You're going to need some kind of insulation, not only on top of you, but underneath you. What people don't think about is when it's cooler outside, you're going to have the wind, you may have other factors in play, and that's going to be robbing your body of heat.
Drop the body heat down a notch.
During the colder months of the year when you're out, so let's say when it's below the upper to mid 60s, you're going to need something else underneath you. Now for a budget-minded method, you can just use a regular insulated or foam pad like you would if you're car camping or backpacking, and put that on there and lay on. That's a good budget solution. But you can also get what's called an underquilt. Now, I'm not going to go into underquilts in this particular video, but you can get an underquilt, which basically is a sleeping bag that attaches underneath loosely and allows you to not lose as much heat because it's an insulating layer that goes underneath you. Kind of similar to the concept of sleeping on an insulated pad when you are camping and laying on the ground, whether you're in a tent or you're cowboy camping. All right, so with that taken care of, that brings us to rain protection.
Rain.
Obviously, if it rains with the mesh and all that, you're going to get wet. So they included this fly here. It's pretty sure which side is which. You want to put your rope a little bit higher than your tree strap. Because of the angle of the trees, it may not be quite ideal as we would like, but for this demonstration purposes, I hope you get the drift. I'm going to hook this part. Normally we go on a tent stake right there. That way I can slide that toggle. I can adjust this just by sliding the toggle. We got that pretty tight there. We got that pretty tight there.
Tight, 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 tight.
Now it does have a guy line on here. Additionally, there are some guy lines on the hammock itself to make the hammock wider so you can stretch that out. Now I'm not really going to use those this particular demonstration. I don't think you really need them for the angle that I have set up, but normally if I had a better angle, a little bit wider trees, I could get it a little bit higher and you would probably need to use that guy line. So I'm just going to plug this into the ground right here.
So plug it in.
Plug it in. I'm going to stick this in the ground right here on that side, and then I'm going to stick it on the ground over here. Like I said, don't need to use the guy line. That'll spread it out enough. Like I said, in a perfect world, in a perfect situation, this would be higher up above your hammock, but I still have plenty of room to get in there. So I can still get in here. I can lay down, and there's no issues with me getting rained on because this is going to protect me. If I want to cook under here, all I got to do is just pull this up and flip it over the top of me, provided it's not raining. I wouldn't want to cook underneath this tarp because it is nylon or whatever this material is. You don't want to melt. So, will this budget kit work? Yes, I think it will work for a lot of people. You don't have to put a lot of money down, and you can try out and see if hammock camping is for you. That's my intention with this, is to introduce this to you. I'm going to use it myself, and I'll probably have it in some different videos.
Pretty cool.
So tell me in the comments below, have you ever tried hammock camping? Do you have any questions about hammock camping? I'm not sure I'll know the answers, but I can find the answers for you, and be glad to let you know what those answers are. If you got value from this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for videos like this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the trail.